I have survived supernovas, human.
It's just a blizzard. Come inside.
I will reward you in ways your kind cannot imagine.
The blizzard had been building for 3 days. Marcus Webb knew the signs. The way the pine trees stopped moving before the wind hit, the particular silence that settled over the mountains like a held breath, the steel-gray color the sky turned in the hours before everything went white. He had lived in this cabin for 4 years, through 4 winters, and he had learned to read the weather the way other people read books. He had stocked the firewood. He had filled the water tanks. He had checked the generator twice and tested the radio once. He was ready. What he was not ready for was the figure standing in his yard at 2 in the morning. He saw her through the frost-edged window, a shape against the white, standing perfectly still in the middle of the blizzard with snow falling thick and fast around her. No coat, no boots visible, no movement, no shivering, just standing there the way a statue stands, except statues do not turn their heads and look directly at you through a fogged window. Marcus grabbed his jacket and his torch and went outside because that was the kind of person he was. The cold hit him like a wall. -23, maybe colder with the wind. He pushed through it, snow crunching under his boots, beam of the torch cutting white through the falling flakes. She was still standing exactly where she had been. Up close, the first thing he noticed were the eyes. White, completely white, glowing faintly like light behind frosted glass. The second thing he noticed was that she was wearing a thin black bodysuit in the middle of a mountain blizzard, and the snow that had settled on her braided hair and dark skin was not melting, which meant she was not generating body heat, which meant she should have been dead. She was not dead. She was looking at him. "You need to come inside," he said. She tilted her head very slightly. "I do not require shelter," she said. Her voice was flat and precise, like a translation rather than natural speech. "My biology is not compromised by low temperatures in the way yours would be. I am simply—" She paused. "Unable to move efficiently. The cold affects my motor functions. My ship's systems failed during entry. I need time to recalibrate." Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Snow settled on his shoulders. "So you're stuck," he said. She said nothing, which he took as a yes. "Come inside," he said again. "I do not take orders from." "I'm not ordering you," he said patiently. "I'm inviting you. There's a difference. And my toes are going numb, so I'd appreciate a decision in the next 30 seconds. Another pause. Then she moved. Slowly, stiffly, like someone operating a body that was not cooperating, and followed him toward the cabin. Her name, she told him when they were inside and he had rebuilt the fire to something that pushed heat back into the small main room, was Nixaran. She was a scout. Her ship had been running a survey pass of the solar system. Routine, she said, dismissive, when a cascade failure in the thermal regulation system had forced an emergency landing. The landing had been less precise than intended. She had walked 3 kilometers through the blizzard to find the nearest structure. "You walked 3 kilometers," Marcus said. "In that. I told you. The cold does not kill me." She was sitting near the fire but not close, maintaining distance with the deliberate care of someone unused to accepting help. "It simply slows me. My synaptic response time drops by approximately 40% below 0 Celsius. I become clumsy." "Clumsy," he repeated. "It is deeply inconvenient," she said, with a gravity that suggested this was the most serious problem she had encountered in recent memory. Marcus made coffee. He offered her a cup. She looked at it with a focused suspicion of someone encountering an unknown object in a potentially hostile context, then accepted it, wrapping her hands around it with what he suspected was purely practical heat absorption rather than comfort. Outside, the blizzard pushed against the cabin walls. "If you protect me from the cold," she said, watching him over the rim of the mug with those white glowing eyes, I will reward you. My people honor debts. It is not negotiable in our culture. A life debt must be repaid. You weren't in danger of dying, Marcus said. No. But I was incapacitated. Vulnerable. You provided shelter without knowing what I was. Without knowing if I was dangerous. She set the mug down precisely. That is a different kind of debt. Rarer. In 37 documented first contact situations in Seraph records, no human has ever simply invited one of us inside. Marcus leaned back in his chair. The fire crackled. Snow hissed against the windows. What do they usually do? He asked. Scream, she said. Run. Occasionally throw objects. Seems exhausting, he said. It is, she agreed, and something in her expression shifted. Barely perceptible, a loosening around the jaw, the faintest softening of the white glow intensity in her eyes. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, which Marcus suspected was not something Narration had much practice with but was managing surprisingly well. He put more wood on the fire. She watched the flames with the focused attention of someone cataloging an unfamiliar phenomenon. What's the reward? He asked eventually. You mentioned a reward. What do you want? She asked simply. He thought about it seriously. Not money, he had enough. Not power, he had no interest. Not fame, the thought made him tired. Tell me what's out there, he said at last. Honestly. Not what your people decide we're ready to know. What's actually out there? Narration was quiet for a long time. The fire shifted and settled. That, she said finally, is not a small request. You said I could choose. I did. She looked at him with those strange white eyes, and for the first time since she had walked in from the snow, she looked at him not as a variable in a situation but as something that had surprised her. Most beings ask for weapons, technology, longevity treatments. She tilted her head again, that small precise motion. You asked for knowledge. Knowledge seems more useful long-term, he said. It is, she said quietly. It is also more dangerous. And more honest. She looked back at the fire. Very well, Marcus Webb. I will tell you what is out there. All of it. As much as one night beside a fire can hold. He got up and put the kettle on again. Outside, the blizzard pushed and howled and buried the world in white. Inside, beside a fire in a small mountain cabin,